Hello YouTube, this is the Mermail Master coming at you with a Fire King Island Fire King deck profile for the July 2016 format. Very excited to bring this deck profile to you, mostly because it's a very strong competitor, specifically right now. While most decks in the format are focusing around targeting and removing from the field and non-destruction removal, Fire King still have a focus on destruction. But the main reason that I wanted to bring it forward today was mostly because of the fact that Fire King Destruction does not actually target. So Fire Kings basically focus around their main monster, which is the Fire King High Avatar Garunix, special summoning it each and every turn and popping your opponent's monsters. So to start off with this deck profile is 3 copies of Fire King Garunix. Fire King Garunix is your boss monster of the deck and one of the big beaters that you have, 2700 attack. When he's destroyed by card effect, special summons during the next standby phase and wipes the whole board of monsters. And then if destroyed by battle, it is sent to the graveyard and special summons another Fire King monster from your deck. So it's destruction, it's recursion, and I like to think of it as kind of like the Dark Destroyer before Dark Destroyer was a thing. Very, very strong monster, and not to be underestimated, especially in today's meta. Next, of course, is 3 copies of Fire King Avatar Barong. Barong is sort of the main thing that you want to get to first turn if you don't have Garunix available. Now with Fire King Island, you can easily trigger it from hand, trigger it from field, trigger it from pretty much anywhere, and Barong will allow you to fetch a Fire King monster from your deck to your hand, or Fire King card from your deck to your hand during the next standby phase after it's destroyed. But the best part about it is, like its partner Yugioh, it can be used as a special summon from the hand, kind of like Tangrisner of the Nordic Beast, when you have a Fire King monster destroyed. So you can have like this continuous stream of monsters to protect you from battle destruction, as well as getting a whole bunch of effects off. Next, of course, is 3 copies of Fire King Avatar Yugioh. This card is strong because it allows you to destroy a monster on your field or hand when it's sent to the graveyard, and also has that same special summoning ability that Barong has. It's starting to see a little bit less use, especially now, particularly because Fire Kings are now in possession of Fire King Island, but still nevertheless, it is a strong card that can be used offensively and defensively to set up your boards. After Yugioh, we have 2 copies of Wolfbark. Wolfbark's self-explanatory. Reborn a Yugioh or Reborn a Barong to the field. Really helps you to extend your plays and extend your fields out further. I like 2 instead of 3 because I feel that Wolfbark clogs, especially early in the game, you don't have too many reliable methods to get the Fire Kings, and whether or not they're bounced back to the graveyard or to the deck is entirely up to what deck your opponent is playing. So it's not a 100% possibility, but it's definitely something that you should consider. And the final monster of the deck is 1 Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Bear. Now, Bear's in here because we do run tanky, and just having the ability to summon a monster, pop a thing, and then swing in for damage can create a lot of extra power plays that you wouldn't normally have. So that's it for the monsters. I believe we are looking at 13 monsters. Be 12 monsters in the deck. Not a lot of monster count, but the spell cards and trap cards more than make up for your ability to search them out. The spell cards and the trap cards are personally my favorite part of the deck, and so I'm going to start off in the spell lineup with 3 copies of Fire King Onslaught. Fire King Onslaught allows you to special summon 1 Fire Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monster. Most people allow it to summon Garunix, but you can also fetch any of your other monsters, such as, you can fetch a bear, or you can fetch like a Wolfbark, or anything like that. Either your Barong or your Yugioh, get him to the field, and then you can make a play from there. The monster effect is negated, but the monster still can attack, and it's destroyed during the end phase, so it'll really help to get some damage in and then trigger an effect. The caveat is it kind of works like Cyber Dragon, where your opponent has to control a monster, but it's still nonetheless one of the best cards in your deck. It can also be searched by Barong. Next, the second best card is going to be 3 copies of the Circle of the Fire Kings. Circle of the Fire Kings allows you to destroy 1 Fire King monster. I think it's just, yeah, destroy 1 fire monster on your field and then special summon a fire monster in your graveyard. So it kind of works in the same way as Cosmos do, where this is a quick play. So if you're during the battle phase or you get targeted by something like that, that would send something back to the deck, pop it, destroy it, and then special summon back a different monster in its place. So great for pushing for damage or defending against any move that your opponent would do. You do have to have a fire monster on the field and graveyard, so again, it's a very bad first turn kind of search, but still a fantastic card. And then the third of the now complete trifecta is going to be the brand new 3 copies of Fire King Island. Fire King Island has 2 separate effects that allow you, first of all, to destroy 1 monster on your hand or field and search a Fire King monster from your deck to your hand. That search is mandatory, which is why you see certain Fire King Island builds for Cosmos running at least 1 copy of Garunix or Yaksha in order to search it out. But Fire King Island also will allow you to special summon a Wing Beast fire monster such as Garunix from your hand. So it sort of conquers both problems that the deck had, getting started first turn without wasting a normal summon, while also, you know, being able to get Garunixes out of your hand if you draw them. That was one of the biggest problems that I had with Fire Kings in the past, was getting Garunixes out of my hand, and Fire King Island really helps us solve this issue. Its last effect is that when it's destroyed, it'll be a Raigeki on your side of the field, so beware for any errant MSTs or Twin Twisters, which can easily wreck the field. That is the only downside to it, but I understand why the restriction was put in, otherwise this card would be unstoppable. So very, very, very good card, and very glad to welcome Fire King Island to the ranks of this deck. Next, 3 copies of Fire Formation Tenki. Tenki is self-explanatory. Pretty much, I believe, 9 of your monsters in the deck are searchable Beast Warrior level 4 monsters. So having Fire Formation Tenki makes it a lot easier to be able to dig and search for the cards that you need to get for your deck. Pretty much searches your whole deck. 3 copies of Supply Squad. I've been seeing this taken out of favor recently due to the presence of Twin Twister. However, I still like to have those Supply Squads in here because any hand that has, for instance, you know, 1 Fire King Island, a Supply Squad, and then an Onslaught of the Fire Kings, that is instantly a fantastic hand to be able to have a play. You know, you'll be able to +2 or +3 off of that play, just searching every time your things are destroyed. You draw a card, and then best of all, it's stackable. So if you have 3 on the field and 1 thing gets destroyed, you can just draw 3 cards from your deck. Fire Kings do have a little bit of problem with card advantage, especially in the late game, and Supply Squad looks to help to fix those issues. 3 MST, self-explanatory, pop back row, or even pop your own Fire King Island. You know, get those searches off and get your plays going. 2 Dark Hole. Why run Raigeki when you can run Dark Hole and destroy your monsters as well? That's the beauty of Fire Kings, is that they're able to run Dark Hole without any problem. And it's sort of like Raigeki, where no matter when the time you activate it, it's always going to be a live card. And the final spell we have are 1 Book of Moon for flipping things face down, and then 1 copy of Rekindling. 9 of the monsters are, I believe, Yaksha and Barong are both 200 defense, so you can reborn back, go for several rank 4s, or just do a massive field wipe and get a whole bunch of advantage. And then Book of Moon is self-explanatory. So that is the count for the spells. And moving on to the traps. 2 copies of Generation Shift. Great card. Destroy a monster and then search a monster with the same name from your deck to your hand. Self-explanatory, this is Fire Kings. Great card. 1 Torrential Tribute, responsive destruction, and destroying your own cards as well. Bottomless Trap Hole, gets rid of threats. Compulsory Evacuation Device. Though many people see this coming out of favor, I personally like the card a lot and choose to keep it in here for synchro plays. Bounces back problem meddlesome synchro monsters, though it does still target, so that is a problem and won't really work too well on like a Dark Destroyer or something like that. But compulsory is still good, specifically against pendulum decks or against other decks that have already like normal summon cards. Just sets people back a lot. And then the final trap card that I have in the deck is 1 copy of Solemn Warning. Now for extra deck for this card, I also don't have an assembled extra deck for this deck, but do note that things like Fire King, you can run like a Felgrand or something like that. You can run pretty much any rank 4 that you can go into. Beast Warrior type monsters, Kagutsuchi, or the Fire Kings, or the Fire Fist Tiger King. But other than that, this deck has very strong matchups in my opinion across the meta, though it does have some trouble with particularly destroying Burning Abyss and Pendulums and other things. It does have that massive field clearing ability that even though your opponent would come back for next turn, it has the ability to both clear a field as well as OTK on the same turn, really decreasing the amount of chance that your opponent would have to come back. So it just is a very, very strong deck, and I think that Fire King Island adds a lot of versatility to the strategy. But I'd say if you can, test out this deck, see how it plays, see how you like it, and please remember to comment, rate, and subscribe for more content from the Team Time Riders YouTube channel. This has been the Mermail Master, and I am signing out. Have a good one.